Hey everyone, so we're out in the garden today for another little quick video, and what I'm going to try to accomplish today is planting 2 containers. So the issue I ran into is that the local nurseries to me, are sold out of pretty much everything. So I've been having a really tough time finding some plants that I like. So we were able to pick up a couple geraniums, some potato vines, and we're going to plant those in the 2 pots next to my door that you see here. So we still have a lot of yard work to clean up and fix up, but let's get to planting those containers. So before we even do that, here is one of my peony bushes, and it's out of flower now, and this is one of my favorite plants. We've actually had this for about 30 years, and I showed you guys the other one we had on the other side of my house. The only thing I hate about these is that they only bloom for less than a week here in my area. So I wish the blooms lasted longer, but other than that, it's a beautiful plant. And also while we're out here, right next to my front door, which those are the planters we're gonna be planting, look at this clematis vine, you guys. So I talked about earlier how we put an obelisk in the middle, so there actually is still a shepherd's hook connecting it. I couldn't rip that out. I had to wait because of coronavirus to get that obelisk. It was 20 bucks, Ocean State job lot. Definitely pick one of those up. But we're gonna remove this shepherd's hook probably this winter once this dies back. And I get asked a lot what I do in regards to cutting this back. I cut this back to the ground every spring, and it puts on all of this growth in probably 3 weeks once it starts to get warm out. But I can't wait for this to fully bloom. So we're not going to be tackling these 2 pots on either side of my steps as well. They have sky pencil hollies in them. This one's looking okay. I do have to cut a little bit of it back, and I'll probably transplant that in my garden, along with some of those weeds that are growing underneath. So here's the containers we're going to be working with today, and these were 10 bucks each. So a local nursery had them marked down for 90% off. Originally they were like $99, $100. You already know I would not be spending that for those. So we just have a terracotta saucer underneath it to keep it from ruining the granite, even though I'll pressure wash eventually. I say that, but I'm probably not even going to get to it this year. But let's get these planted. Let me take you guys a little bit closer and show you guys what we're working with. So I picked up 2 of these fuchsia colored, I don't know how if the camera's picking it up really nicely, but these are 2 fuchsia colored geraniums. And you know, this year, you guys, I'm trying something different. Usually my color palettes are whites and blues and purples, but my dad wanted lots of color, so that's what he's gonna get. These were $3.97, and they're just a different type of zonal geranium. So I really like these. I thought they were really pretty. Yeah, so we picked up 1 of each of these that's gonna go in the container. As I said before, there wasn't much selection at the stores, so I just have to deal with what I can, get. I don't order my plants online. I don't really like doing that, and they wouldn't come in as nice. And as it's kind of like the middle of June at this point, I want kind of an immediate impact. So we just got to clean these leaves up a little bit, pull off any dead leaves, and what I often do is I actually cut off all of the blooms for the first week or 2 with my geraniums. I really want them to put on a lot of growth in their foliage. So I left the blooms on so you guys can see. We purchased the fuchsia, and this is kind of a slightly lighter pink as well, so we have a nice contrast, but they kind of look like double blooming geraniums. They're not, completely double, but they have a nice thick petal to them. So any dead leaves, I pull them off, and then probably after I take some pictures of this, I'll pull off all of the blooms as well to really focus the growth in the foliage and the root system. What we also have are 2 of these little dinky sweet potato vines. These get massive. I don't care about the quality of them when I first pick them up, just because I know they're gonna do great faithfully. So, come mid-season, I usually cut off a piece or 2 and root it in and then place it somewhere else in another container or whatnot. But these are just your basic sweet potato vines. Even these are really hard to come by here in Massachusetts right now. This is the first year I'm doing garden videos, and the first year everything is sold out. Everything's been sold out pretty much for a month now. So up next we have a tropical houseplant, believe it or not. This was $2.98 from Walmart, and I wanted a canna lily or something tall to be in this, but like I said, everything's sold out, so this was the next best thing. And these I can take in at the end of the winter, but I'm so bad about doing that, you guys. So in all honesty, these are probably just gonna die outside, and I'll put something else here next year. So $2.98. What we got to do with these is also pull off any dead leaves or any leaves that aren't looking the greatest, and these will bounce back really nicely with all of this heat that we're getting. So let's get to planting 2 geraniums, 1 of these cordylines, and a sweet potato vine. So in the second pot, I see I put a little Sedum Autumn Joy in this. This must be just a little piece that I found and just placed in this pot. So I'm just going to dig this up, put it in a little tiny pot for now, and then transplant this to the garden. I already have so many plants, you guys. I'll probably just end up giving this to a friend. So I just put it in a little tiny pot, and I'll probably end up giving this to a friend or a neighbor, just because I have so many of them. But it's just a cute little Sedum Autumn Joy. But let's get planting our annuals in this container. So here's how they turned out, you guys. I think they're really pretty. Not my favorite color palette, but Dad wanted some color. So let's do a quick little recap. We planted one sweet potato vine, and what I often do is I usually place it a little further in so it kind of fills in the middle and cascades, because this is going to touch the concrete come August. These grow incredibly fast. So we have a little chartreuse colored one. They also have them in different color schemes. We planted two zonal geraniums. We have a fuchsia colored one on the left, and we also have kind of a lighter pink on the right. So usually I'll fill up my containers a little bit more, but this is the best I can do with the nursery's availability right now. We also have a cordyline in the back. That's typically a house plant. Lots of people use them as that. So any neighbor that wants to take those before the winter frost hits, you're more than welcome to do that, because we're certainly not going to do that, are we, Yay?
No.
We never take things in for the winter.
No, it's too much work.
It's too much work. We're not really big on having the plants in the house. I love it, but we just don't get into the rhythm of bringing things in for the winter. So even though this is a fresh flower video or a garden style video, the rules still apply for artificial designing. So for those of you that are watching and make wreaths or floral designs, I always recommend with any kind of container or vessel, you have a thriller, a spiller, and a filler. So if you can remember those three things, you've already reached success with container gardening. So for instance, the cordyline in the back is going to be our thriller. It's the tallest piece. That will probably get to, you know, probably right under, in between the, what is that called? What's that called, Yay? The doorbell. Why did I forget that? The doorbell and the light above. It'll probably reach midway. It's not a canna lily. It won't grow nearly as fast. So that's our thriller. We also have two geraniums as a filler. That's just gonna kind of fill in. And then always, always, always soften the edge of your containers with a spiller. So in this case, we're using potato vines. You could also be using calibrachoa, also known as million bells. You could use petunias, you name it. Just have something to soften the edge of the container once things start to grow out. So I'll give you guys an update as to how this turned out later on as it fills in. So a few quick things I wanted to go over. You might have noticed I use small bags of soil. Reason being, I have some very large potting soil bags, too heavy to lift by myself, and it's hot and I just didn't feel like doing that. So I had 4 or 5 bags of dollar store soil. Wouldn't recommend that. It's not really a value because you can get so much more soil for about $5-6 a bag. You also might not notice I didn't add any slow release fertilizer. The only reason I didn't do that is because I didn't have any on hand. I ran out a couple weeks ago planting up another container. That's totally fine though, because I will be using Miracle Grow water soluble fertilizer in these containers probably about once a week. Usually every Sunday I fertilize. Haven't fertilized anything this year so far. Things have been crazy busy and I just haven't gotten to it. So that's the reason I use dollar store soil. Those are the only bags I had of that. I don't even know where they came from. Not the best soil, not the cheapest when you think in the long run. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's tutorial, not really a tutorial, today's garden vlog, if you will. So let me know if you guys like these types of videos. Give this video a like and a share if you'd like to see more of this type of stuff. Look at how cute Yaya is in the back sitting in her rocking chair. She's waving.
Hi, everybody.
Hi everybody. Alright, so we have some more work to do. Now it's time to record some artificial wreaths and we'll do more in the garden this week. So thanks for watching. Bye everyone. I also thought I'd pop in and show you guys some of the things that are blooming. Still haven't gotten around to plant that standard not dwarf blue spruce, just a blue spruce, Colorado blue spruce. That's probably going to go in another container, and I'll get around to that when I do. It's totally fine. I don't even really water it all that much, but it's still doing well and it's growing. So we have some catmint right here. This is Walker's Low catmint. I love it. Yaya hates it. It does get pretty large, but if you divide it every 1.5 to 2 years, it does great. And this thing is a huge hummingbird attractor, if you will. Hummingbirds go crazy over that. We also have some dollar clearance Happy Days daylilies right here. These are a little bit taller, so those are starting to come into bloom. And for those ones that aren't, look at how many buds. Can you guys see those? Just covered in buds. And we also have a Salvia nermorosa, I believe is what this is, and it's in the color Sensational Rose. It's stunning. It's starting to go out of bloom a little bit. There's still lots of buds, but probably the week after the 4th of July, I'll cut this back about halfway, maybe even a little bit more. I don't like to just shear the top off. I really like to get in there so that the plant's nice and bushy again, and it'll bloom like this again. So then you guys might recall we planted some of these carnations or dianthus, and these are starting to go out of bloom. There's still a few blooms left, but I'll cut these back as well, and they still have such a beautiful foliage, and they'll shoot out a few blooms here and there. Same with the ones back there. Those have got to be cut back a little bit too. But just walking by this area, this is our pathway to get into our cars over there. Just walking by, you smell those carnations, and they just smell heavenly. I love the smell. So excuse the noise, there is an air conditioner behind me, but I also picked up 6 of these Veronicas. They're also known as Speedwells. I've never called them that, but they are a dark blue. It's called Vernique Dark Blue Speedwell or Veronica, and I really like these. I love the flower stalks of them. They're very linear and add a lot of texture. You guys know I'm a huge fan of blue in my garden, so I picked up 6. They were $7.99 each. Guess how much I paid? Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think I paid. Okay, well, I'll tell you guys anyway. We paid 3 for 10, so $20 for a flat of 6 of them, and we're gonna create kind of a little swoop of these in my garden. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to add some of these. Maybe I'll go pick up some more because I really like them. All right, yay, we finished up the containers.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.